Prapto yasya pratita kripaya Sri Gurun tam natosmi Gurave Kaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Anandalilabhaya Vigrahaya Hema Bhadravyacchavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Bhaktavena Aparana Lakshay Vilkasya Kamari Vipavai Amrita Namaste Charanarvindam Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Govinda Damo Charanarvindi Govinda Damo Hare Krishna Govinda Namo Sam Sundar Smarha Sumuri Manaya Radhikaras Kamama Kripanati Sufriachanati Kurim Kuru Tavaivasmi Najivavitayana Divikyaya Devitam Nama Charantikam. First of all, for my Prasthana Dandavat Pushpanjali, my heart, like flowers, thousands and thousands of times, at the lotus feet of my Holy Master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmadiya Paramarada Tama Guru Pada Padma, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Ashtotara Sutta Susima, Rupada Acharya Varya, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada and all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all my dear brothers and sisters, all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, Vancha Kalpatarugas, Gopal, Krishna himself, adorned with the ecstatic sentiments and complexion of his most beloved Srimati Radhika, appeared in this world in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he did not come alone, he came with his eternal associates, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Gadara Pandit Srivas Thakur, Haridas Thakur, Rai Ramananda, Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, so many associates. And together, they plundered the storehouse of love of God. And they began to distribute to everyone fruit that they are distributing from the storehouse of love of God. That is, saying Harinam Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy names, and also hearing the nectar of Harikatha, the pastimes of Sri Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he pointed out, it was not something recognized, that among all the Vedic scriptures, one is different. One of them is supreme. One of them is imbued with Achintya Shakti, inconceivable power to awaken love for Krishna. That is the Grantaraj, the king of all scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam. Before, in other lines, in other traditions, they had honor for the Puranas, all the Puranas, Vishnu Purana, Padma Purana, Bhagavad Purana. Bhagavad Purana was one amongst so many. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told no. This Shastra is different. Dharma Projitakaita Atra Paramoni Matranam Sutam Vedyam Vastavam Atravasdu Shivadam Tapatayam Mudanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Kate Kimbapara Ishvara Satyo Ritya Vrute Aktibisus Rusudistat Sanat. The Srimad Bhagavatam kicks out all types of duplicity, all types of cheating, religion. Religion which is aimed at acquiring for yourself some worldly happiness. Even religion which is aimed at salvation, being liberated. Because the actual purpose of Dharma, Sansiddhira Itoshanam, how to please the heart of Krishna. Pure bhakti. So, this Srimad Bhagavatam, it is so powerful. Satyo Ritya Vrutya means that when you hear Srimad Bhagavatam, then Krishna enters into your heart and becomes trapped there and cannot leave. He cannot escape. Avarudyate means, Krishna is very curious, looking here and there. If he sees the door open, he wanders inside. Maybe there's something to steal. So when you hear Srimad Bhagavatam, then a very curious Krishna comes. But when he enters your heart, then the door slams behind him. And now he's trapped and cannot get out. It means that simply hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, you gain love for Krishna, because Krishna is only captured, he's only trapped. He only becomes subordinate and helpless in the face of pure prema. So this is the potential of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. In fact, Srila Vyasadeva is saying, Susru Suvistat Sanat. It happens not only to those who hear Srimad Bhagavatam, it even happens to those who just want to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Susrushrubi means if someone has a desire to hear the pastimes of Krishna from Srimad Bhagavatam, then Krishna, he runs quickly to get a front row seat in your heart because he wants to hear. So he arrives and he doesn't come in. You're not hearing yet, only you want to hear. Krishna immediately comes. I also want to hear through your ears. So Sushrubi Tatchanat. Tatchanat means Tatchanat. From that moment. From that moment he's trapped means that once he's caught in your heart, he can never leave you. And Tatchanat, Kshan means in Sanskrit also a festival. Tatchanat, Tat means the supreme truth, Krishna. The reason why Krishna comes and takes his seat on the lotus of your heart when you prepare to hear Srimad Bhagavatam is because this Bhagavatam is Tatchanat. It is a festival of joy for Krishna himself. The love which is expressed here is incomparable, unparalleled. And because Krishna is Rasik, he can taste. You may not be able to taste it. You may hear a verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, squint your eyes and think, well, what's that all about? You can. Krishna hears the syllables of Srimad Bhagavatam, he becomes mad with joy. Because in that Srimad Bhagavatam, sometimes directly and mainly indirectly, the glories of Srimati Radhika are loudly proclaimed with the beating of drums. So, this affects, the effect that Srimad Bhagavatam has on Krishna. No other scripture has that effect. So in this verse, atra means here in this Srimad Bhagavatam, 3 times. Dharma projita kaitavo atra paramo nimatsanam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatra manam Srimad Bhagavate mahamuni kate kimva prayashva sadyo vidyavarudite atra 3 times. Srila Vyasadeva is expressing that only here in this Srimad Bhagavatam is the power to capture Krishna. So it is exploded there. He said, Bhanena te deva katha sudhaya bhaktya pavriddha vishishadya ashayaye vairagya saram patilapya bodham yathanjasan diyor akunta disnyam. Means by drinking the Amrita, the nectar of immortality. Now people, they try to undergo so many medical and chemical procedures to make themselves look young. But if they could find the Amrita, the nectar of immortality, how much would they pay for that? So here it is. Srimad Bhagavatam is Amrita. Amrita means death. Amrita means without death. It is immortal nectar. And not only that it makes you immortal, but it is nectar in the sense that it is excessively delicious. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalaya, you can taste it again and again, and you don't become desensitized to the taste of the Srimad Bhagavatam. But the taste increases and increases and increases. So, Pranena te deva katha sudhaya. By drinking this nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam, bhakta pravriddha, your bhakti is nourished and becomes mature. Vishadashayaye. Even for those being in this material world, the core of their heart has become overwhelmed with disappointment, lamentation. Has anyone experienced disappointment in their life? No? Yeah. That's the nature of this material world. It is very sparkling and attractive, full of promises, but when you go there, then you discover it's something else. Burning hot and full of misery. So those who realize this, Vishwasasana, those persons, when they drink this nectar, then their devotion, transcendental devotion for Krishna becomes mature, increases and increases. Then Vairagya Saram Patilapya Bodham, their consciousness, Bodha, means becomes awakened. Krishna Surya Sama Mayahaya Andaka. Yahan Krishna Tahan Nahi Maya Adhika. Krishna is like the sun, and Maya is like darkness. Where the sun shines, there is no question of darkness. What does it mean? If you are not seeing Krishna, then you are blind. In complete darkness. In complete Maya. Asleep. Dreaming. Nightmare, actually. So, by hearing this Katha Pratilapya Bodham, your soul becomes awake. No longer in the darkness of material world, material suffering, misidentification with this body and mind, but awake. You become situated in your Siddha Swarup, eternally perfect spiritual form, which has a role to play in the beautiful eternal pastimes of Sri Krishna. So, Vairagya Saram, that realization is the essence of Vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from the world. So many persons on the spiritual path, they try to renounce the world. They try to give up the world. But only giving up, this is all artificial. Their heart becomes dry. And after some time, again they become attached. In this life or next life. So their Vairagya is not actual true Vairagya. True Vairagya means Vishesh Rupain Anurag. An intense, deep love for the transcendental Lord, by which you become so absorbed in thoughts of Krishna that you don't remember this world. That's detachment. That's actual detachment. Vairagya Saram Patilapti Puram. Yadhanya Sanriyor Akunta Dishnam. And then that person who was recognizing their suffering in this world, drinking the nectar of Krishna Katha, becoming mature in bhakti, their consciousness was awakened, they become genuinely detached from this plane, then Yatanya Sandhya, very easily they enter Akunta Vishnam into the spiritual plane, into the spiritual world. So, that's why we are here. We are not playing games. We want to tread the path of the Mahajans, the Acharyas, which leads us beyond this world to Sri Krishna's eternal service in his transcendental abode. And it will be all facilitated by chanting Harinam and hearing sweet and beautiful Krishna Katha. Parikshit Maharaj, he was about to die, he had 7 days left to live. So he posed the question to Shukadeva Goswami, 2 questions. What is the duty of a man who will die just now? Who will die just now, right now? And what is the duty of a man who will die after some time? So we're all in that category, right? Those 2 categories. Either you're going to die right now. We went on a Japa walk today with Nimai Chaitanya Prabhu, and he got a message from a friend. So he was going to come to the program today, but unfortunately he's not here because he's in intensive care in a coma and he may die any second. Wake up call for everyone. So either we're going to die right now, just now, or we'll die after some time. So it's really important to know what to do. These are the 2 questions asked by Parikshit Maharaj. So Shukadeva Goswami, he said, if you're going to die right now, you should chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And all in able to do. But if you've got some time, then you should sit down and listen to Harikatha. So because Parikshit Maharaj, Shukadeva Goswami knew Parikshit Maharaj is not going to die right now. He had 7 days. So what did he do? He spoke Srimad Bhagavatam all day and night for 7 days. In the end, Parikshit Maharaj, he became perfect and ascended to the spiritual world. When Takshak, the poisonous snake bird, came to bite him, he didn't feel anything because he'd already gone in samadhi and he entered the spiritual sky. And the bird just came, bit him, and his body burst into flames, but he didn't know anything. So, the snake of time is coming to bite all of us. So it's essential that we hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, another reason why we should hear Srimad Bhagavatam is, if you only chant, then that chanting may give you liberation. But if you want to attain a particular destination in the spiritual world, a particular relationship with Krishna, a particular service to Krishna, then we'll have to hear the Katha that gives us the sanskars, impressions, and nourishes devotion in that very mood, which nourishes our relationship with Krishna. And then when we do kirtan with a sambandha, relation with Krishna, that is called sankirtan. Kirtan with sambandha gyan, being established in a beautiful relationship with Krishna when you chant the name, that is called sankirtan. Sarvato bhavain kirtan, complete kirtan. Not only kirtan, sankirtan. Sankirtan means the kirtan which is free from aparad, offenses to the name, which is free from anartha, worldly desires and misconceptions, which is performed with sambandha gyan, a realization of our eternal loving relation with Krishna in a particular mood, and which is performed in the association of pure Vaishnavas who are vibrating the Shuddha Nam, the pure name, not the material sound. The ordinary person, when they speak, when they even try to say the holy name or describe the pastimes of Krishna, then this sound, this air, is not transcendental. It is called nasik vayu. That means the air that went in their nose came out of their mouth. Nasik vayu. But when a pure Vaishnava speaks the glories of Krishna and chants the holy name, then this sound vibration is coming from the spiritual world. That is Vaikuntha Vayu, the air of the spiritual world. So if we do kirtan in their association with sambandha gyan, without anartha and aparad, then that is a complete kirtan by which we become perfect. So it is called sankirtan, complete kirtan. So the verse we want to discuss today, like all the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, have many, many beautiful, profound meanings. So I'll chant and you can with me. Purna Pulinda Urugaya Padapjaraga, Purna Pulinda Urugaya, Shri Kumkumena Daitastana Manditena, Shri Kumkumena Daitastana Manditena, Tadarshanas Bararujastrana Rushitena, Tadarshanas Bararujastrana Lambante Anana Kucheshu Jaustadahadim, This is a verse. 10th Canto, chapter 21. This chapter is famous by the name of Venugit. Venugit is the sound of Krishna's flute. Specifically, the beautiful young colored maidens of Praja. They're in their homes during the day, and Krishna's gone out into the meadows and the hills, and he's playing his flute. But in their homes, they can hear the sound of his flute, and they're feeling intense separation from him. Venu Rava, Ti Venu Ravam Raja. The sound of Krishna's flute is called Rava. So, Rava means the Agni Bij. You know, in the chakras, the Agni Bij is a Ra. So Ra means Agni Bij, the fire of separation. And Ba is the Amrita Bij, the seed of nectar, the nectar of meeting. That means in the Rava, the sound of Krishna's flutes, they simultaneously experience an intensification of their separation from him, but also a supernatural meeting with him in their hearts. So in this chapter 21, the gopis are in a stage of their love called Garbharag. That means they've fallen deeply in love with Krishna. They think about him at every moment, but they haven't yet had the opportunity to be alone with him, to meet with him intimately. So, the general meaning of the verse, one gopi is saying, Purna Pulinda Urugaya Padapjarana. Purna means complete. Pulinda. Pulinda means the Adivasi. They are the Aborigine tribal wild people who live in the jungle. Outside of Vedic system, outside of Vedic traditions, they are the uncivilized wild tribes who live in the forest and go over there. They're called Pulinda. So Purna Pulinda. Urugaya, but Urugaya is Krishna, who plays beautifully upon his flute. Padamjaraga means the reddish lotus feet of Krishna. Shri Kumkumena Daitastana Manditena. Those lotus feet of Krishna, they are Manditena. They have been decorated with the Sri Kumkumena, with the kumkum. Kumkum means the parag, the pollen of lotus flowers, which is collected together, and then the gopis use this reddish powder as a cosmetic to rub on their chests to make their bodies very shining, beautiful, and very fragrant. So Sri Kumkumena Dayita. Dayita means the beloved. Stana means the breast. So Trinarushitena means that this reddish cosmetic from the breast of Krishna's beloved is smeared upon the grass at Govardhan. The dhwani, or the implication of the verse, is that Sri Krishna, his lotus feet were on the heart of his beloved, and then her cosmetic came onto his lotus feet. Afterwards, when he was leaving, he walked on the grass, and some remnant of that was left on the grass, and then he went away. And then these two Aborigine girls who live in the forest, named Mali and Bringi, they collect wood in the forest and they sell it in the village. They were wandering and they saw this bright reddish fragrant substance on the grass. And when they saw it, Tadashana, seeing that, Smararuja, they became overwhelmed with lust. They became very lusty for Krishna. But Limpancha Ana Kucheshu Dos Tadhadim. Adin means pain. They were feeling so lusty that they were feeling pain. But when they took that kumkum from the grass, they smeared it on their faces and on their bodies, and they felt complete relief. They felt Purana, the first word, Purana, completely satisfied. So, Braj Gopis, though they have love for Krishna, they are superior in bhakti than these village girls, the Palindi girls, But because they have to follow Dharma, because they are married to others, and the whole society is watching them, so they didn't have the chance to meet with Krishna. But they're thinking that these girls who haven't met with Krishna, but they've touched something that was touching Krishna, so they have at least some connection with him. They are Purana, their lives are successful. But we are so unlucky, we are so unfortunate. So that's the nature of Mahabhav, that when the gopis just see something in connection, not Krishna, but in connection with Krishna, in connection with something in connection with Krishna, then they glorify that. Especially in Madhuraki Mahabhav of Radharani, she glorifies even the most insignificant objects if they have some connection with something that has connection with Krishna. So this is the general meaning of the verse. Now we want to go into it more deeply. Our Srila Jiva Goswami Pad raises a question. You have to pay attention if you want to catch it. He raises a question that in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna and the gopis, they meet together intimately, very privately, for the first time during Rasa Leela. So that Rasa Leela is in chapter 29. So, this is chapter 21. How is it possible that there are some cosmetics on Krishna's lotus feet? Is it possible? Some persons say, no, Krishna meets with devotees with gopis before the Rasa Leela, but he just meets with all of them for the first time during Rasa Leela. Srila Jiva Goswami said no. Why? Because when in Rasa Leela, you can see in Srimad Bhagavatam, when all the gopis came to meet with Krishna, Sri Krishna said, what are you doing here? Don't break the principles of Dharma. You should return and serve your husbands. So if they'd already met with him, then those tricky words, that joke, it was a joke. He was joking with them. Because they started to cry because they thought he was serious. But he was just teasing them. That particular joke would not work if they'd met with him before. Jiva Goswami makes this point. And another point is in the first verse of Rasa Leela, it is said, Bhagavan apitaratri sharat phula malika viksharantam manaschakre yogamaya mupasvadaha. Manaschakre means Krishna made up his mind to enjoy amorous pastimes with the gopis. So that means that previously he hadn't made up his mind. He made up his mind on that day. So he didn't meet with the Braj gopis for Rasa Leela before that. So then the question remains, what is the mystery behind this verse, and how did this kumkum end up on the feet of Krishna? Just describe that when Krishna was 6 years old, he danced on the head of Kaliya. And he was showing his dancing skills to the gopis who were standing on the shore of the river. Then, after chastising Kaliya, the wives of Kaliya, they decorated Krishna beautifully. They raided their treasury, their storehouse, and brought out so many silk cloths and jewels, and they covered Krishna and decorating him so beautifully. So, Vishnu Tattva all have Kaustubha money. Krishna, Narayan, they all have Kaustubha money, this jewel. But because Krishna his Leela is like a human being. So, when he's born, he's not like Krishna appearing in Mathura with all weapons and Kaustubha money. But when Krishna comes from the womb of Mandeshwara, he's completely naked, his hair is like this. And he, like a natural child, he can't be born with the Kaustubha money. So what happened was, Yogamaya hid that Kaustubha money in the treasury of Kalyanad. And then on this day, when he was 6 years old, when they were digging through and finding all the good things to give him, they thought, oh, what's this? I didn't know we had this. And it's Krishna's eternal Kaustubha money, which is actually part of his Swarup. It's not something else, it's part of Krishna's Swarup. And so they put it on his chest, and he looked so beautiful. And then after receiving the worship of Kaliya and his wives, he came from an island and he walked across the water back to the shore. How did he do that? Because all the other serpents there, they were swimming underwater, and wherever Krishna put his foot, then they were coming underneath his foot like this, putting their heads under the water. In this way, Krishna walked across the water on so many heads and came to the shore, where he was greeted by his mother, father, Balaram, and other Vishnu all came and embraced him. And the gopis were at a little distance, and they were standing in a row, and Krishna walked past them. And now this is the first time he got very close to them, the first time he has his Kaustubha money shining on his chest and beautifully decorated. And as Krishna walked past each gopi, she fainted and fell down like a banana tree in a hurricane. So then, that night, Brijvasis was so attached to Krishna after this experience, this traumatic experience of seeing him in the coils of Kaliya, that they decided they didn't want to go home. They should all camp there and stay there on the bank of Yamuna. So Krishna was in the middle and all others made circles around him. They slept at night, but Krishna couldn't sleep and the gopis couldn't sleep either. And in the middle of the night, Krishna sat up and he saw around the edge of their camp, all the gopis, they also sat up and they were looking at each other. And Krishna was looking, and then he saw the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, Srimati Radharani. And the other gopis also noticed, look, he's looking mainly at her. So, the next morning, when everyone got up and it was time to put their things on their bullock carts and return to their village, so Krishna noticed that gopis were trembling. It was very difficult for them to walk. They just couldn't take themselves away from him. They were seeing a spurting of him everywhere. And their family members put them on the bullock carts and took them away. And Krishna's heart was breaking, seeing their pitiable condition. And so, from that day, he began to play his flute every day to somehow reach out to them and give them the relief from the separation they were now feeling. That was that fire of separation that was ignited on that day. And now you know why Krishna's always playing his flute from that time in his life, age 6. As he became 7 years old, he's going out to the forest. Braja gopis are in their homes. And then in these verses of this chapter, they're talking to each other about Krishna. Krishna's playing his flute out of sympathy for them. And his flute is having so many wonderful effects. One gopi says, Vrindavanam saki bhavo vitanoti kirtim yad devaki sutapadam vajalakshmi Govindavena manumattamayor nityam prakshatri sanvavaratanya samasta sattvam. O Saki, this Vrindavan is making the earth glorious. Earth is glorious, more glorious than any other planet. Millions of stars in the sky, this is the best. Why? Because of Vrindavan. And why is Vrindavan glorious? Because it's decorated with the beautiful footprints of Krishna. Govinda Vena Marmatmayora Nityam. When Govinda plays his flute, then the peacocks appear from the forest and spread their tails and begin to dance for Sri Krishna. And this performance of Krishna's music and the peacocks dancing is so astonishing that other animals are coming out from the forest, out from the trees, and they make a crowd on the bank of Govardhan. They're going up so higher and higher, in a stadium, so that everyone can see the seating is in a slope like this. So the animals, they're climbing on the Govardhan to get a view of this wonderful scene of Krishna playing his flute and making the peacocks dance. Another gopi, he said, Gopya kimachradayam kushalam sureno Damodara rasudam api gopikanam Bhumte swayam vyadavashistarasam radinyo Hrishyatvachosu momakus taravo yadata paryaha. O Saki, what austerities did this flute perform in his previous life? To be drinking the nectar of Krishna's lips. Tell me, if I knew what austerities he's done, I would perform those austerities myself. What did this piece of bamboo do in a previous life? When did he fast? Which holy places did he take bath? What vrats did he follow? Which holy places did he visit? I want to do all that so that in my next life I can also become a piece of bamboo. And then I can always be in Krishna's hand, sometimes tucked in his turban, sometimes in his belt, sometimes under his pillow at night when he's sleeping. And then I can drink the nectar of his lips. The gopis are thinking, oh, this flute is criticizing us. They're not thinking that Krishna is playing the flute. They're thinking that the flute is taunting us. Hey gopis, what are you doing in home? Staying there. if you don't come soon, I'm going to drink all this nectar. And I won't leave one drop to you. Always think that actually Krishna is not playing this flute. Just the touch of his lips. When he kisses the flute, then the flute becomes in so much ecstasy, the flute, ooh, that's just, it's called sitkar in Sanskrit, the expressions of ecstasy, of meeting with one's lover. This sound, the flute is making like this, and gopis are so jealous, completely jealous of the flute. So they say, Api Gopikana, Krishna's, the nectar of his lips belongs to us, not to you. Mr. Flute, we are female, we are meant to meet with Krishna, but Venu, flute is male, masculine. Why are you meeting with Krishna? Or another meaning is they become very jealous, just as sometimes the heroine and hero, they exchange roles with each other, and they play each other's parts, so they think, oh, this flute, she must be female, because she's always kissing Krishna, but now she became in a Purush part. So, gopis become very jealous. Just see that the family members of the flute, they're all very happy. Who are the family members of the flute? The flute's mother is the river. Because the river, like a mother gives milk so that you can grow, so the river was giving water for the flute to grow. And the father are the trees, so his family members are the other trees. So gopis see that the trees are in bloom and the honey is dripping from their branches like tears. So, and in the Jamuna, the lotus flowers are blossoming as if the rivers and ponds are smiling. So gopis think, look at this. This is astonishing that the parents of this flute, they are so happy thinking our offspring is this flute, his life is successful because he's drinking the nectar of Krishna's lips. This is amazing. Because if our parents saw us drinking the nectar of Krishna's lips, then we'd be in big trouble. So just see how fortunate this flute is. Or another meaning, Yatarya, means the senior relatives are crying. That means Radharani is saying, Krishna is so attractive, he's so beautiful, that the old gopis in Braja, they may have been beautiful when they're young, but now they're old and gravity is having played its toll. And now, those old gopis, they see Krishna, how sweet and beautiful he is, and they're so attracted to him that they think, oh, I wish that why was I born so early? If I had been born later, then I could become Krishna's beloved. So Radharani, she's saying that, that means that all the gopis like Jatila, all they can do when they hear the sound of Krishna's flute is cry, alas, alas, why am I so old? Another gopi, she's saying, Gavasta Krishna Mupanirgatavenu Gita Priyush Uttabita Kana Putati Bantya Shanastuta Tanapayat Kavalayas Matasto Govindamatmanita Shashukalas Prasantyaha. Just see, when Krishna plays upon his flute, then the cows who are in the meadow, they have very big ears. You've seen the Brahmin cows from India, they have big ears that hang down. But she's saying when Krishna plays his flute, their ears go up like this, like cups. And with the cups of their ears, they're drinking the nectar of Krishna's flute. And they're so absorbed in that even though they're chewing grass, but they just forget to chew. And the grass is just hanging from their mouth. And their calves who are drinking milk from the udders of those cows, they're drinking the milk from the udder of the cow, but they hear the sound of Krishna's flute. Govinda Atmani. And in their hearts, they feel that Krishna is embracing them.
and the calves become stunned, and they forget to swallow. So the milk is still flowing, but they've forgotten to swallow. So it's just coming out of their mouths and running down their cheeks. And this is the effect of Krishna's fruit on the birds, on the cows, on the rivers. So Shukadeva Goswami is describing all this in this chapter 21 of Srimad Bhagavatam. But it has a very deep meaning. And the deep meaning is this, that Krishna is doing target practice. Target practice. You know? If you want to hunt something, first you have to learn how to shoot. So you practice with the target before you go out to face a tiger or anything. Okay? So Krishna has a desire. He wants to meet with Radhika and Brajagopis. And he's thinking, I want to be able to play my flute in such a way to completely hypnotize them, to completely bewilder them that they'll forget everything. And they'll transgress all the boundaries of Dharma and come and meet with me. But that's a very high ambition. So let me start with some other things. Let's see if this works on the peacocks. Yeah? So that verse, Govinda Venam Anamatra Mayore, Krishna's looking at the peacocks and meditating how to play a tune in such a way that will enchant them. And when he saw them completely hypnotized, that's good, he was very happy. Alright, now let me try the cows. And then he played his flute in such a way as to attract and mystify the cows. And then the river, the trees, like this, so each verse is describing. So, at this time, the heart of Krishna and the heart of Radhika, they've become like mirrors. And they're reflecting each other's love. That even when they're not together, they remember each other. And they see each other internally. And Radharani is staying in a home. And the thoughts are coming in her mind. Will I ever be pressed against the strong and shining chest of Shri Krishna, which is like a fresh rain cloud, which shines like Indra Nilamani, like a sapphire? Will I ever be pressed against his chest? What am I thinking? I shouldn't think these thoughts. Then she tries to do her housework. She's doing that. Then another thought comes in. Will I ever taste the tambul, the betel nut that has been chewed by Krishna? Because when lover and beloved meet, then the hero, his beloved becomes a spittoon and he puts the chewed betel in his lover's mouth. And she's trying to do the housework. And another thought is, will I ever taste the chewed tambul of Krishna? What am I thinking?
Yeah.
So all these thoughts are coming, and she's very disturbed. And on the other side, see Krishna, he's in Nandagown. And he's thinking, oh, my father is a famous sadhu, and my mother is a crushed jewel of chaste ladies. Then how is it that my mind is thinking about all the beautiful gopis in my village, all of them? Especially Radhika. Because the son will have the qualities like the parent in a dharmic family. The son will have qualities like the parents. I'm nothing like my parents. They're all very religious and I'm having very dharmic ideas. So in this way Krishna he's only 7 years old. Krishna is conflicted. Radharani is conflicted. So this is the nature of Braja Prem. It has its own life. And even against their will, it takes over the hearts of Radha and Krishna and all Braja Gopis. So they're suffering so much. So finally, Krishna decides, I am going to play my flute and call the gopis. So Krishna went deep deeply into the inaccessible area of the forest. And then he began to play a raga, romantic melody. That is called Panchama Raga. In Panchama Raga, Rishabh and Daivat, Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Da Ni Sa. So Sa Re, Rishabh, Da and Da, Daivat, these two notes are forbidden. They are the Varjit Swar, the forbidden notes in the romantic raga. So Krishna began to play, and now this time he's aiming just like an archer aims his arrow. So he's aiming his raga at Radharani. But because Radhika and all the gopis, they're all expansions of Radhika actually, it's attracting all of them. And from wherever they were on that day, they dropped everything and they ran to that place at once. And they arrived there very, very shyly. And they bowed down to Krishna. And each one of them touched his feet, took the dust from his feet, and then stood there looking at him. Now what will he do? So Krishna looked around at all these beautiful gopis. They're not human beings with fleshly bodies. Each one of them is the murti of a different flavor of pure transcendental love for Krishna. Their buddhi, their intelligence has no other function. Just as a kamadhenu, a wish-fulfilling cow, fulfills the wish of its owner, so the buddhi, the intelligence of every gopi, is simply absorbed in fulfilling the wishes of the son of Nandamala, without any personal consideration. And Krishna was looking, and he looked around at all the beautiful gopis who were surrounding him, and then he noticed something. He noticed that Radharani was not there. So then he changed his mind. He said, "Oh my dear beloved gopis, don't lose faith in me, because I have promised you. Yatha bala barjam siddha, yatha balam barjam siddha, mayem arangshatak shapa." When Krishna had stolen the clothes of the gopis who were bathing in the Jamuna, when he returned their clothes, he said to them, "I know why you did this vow to serve Katyayani, and that desire I will fulfill in the coming nights of the autumn season." So Krishna had promised. So he was reminding them, he said, "Don't lose faith in me, I have made a promise. But not today. Now you should return to your homes." And with great difficulty, those gopis turned around and they went back to their homes. And in their hearts they were embracing Krishna and wondering, when will that day be? When he will accept us? But the reason he didn't accept them is because his main objective is to meet with Radhika, and she wasn't there. So then the question comes, where was she? Later the gopis themselves, they described that moment when they touched Krishna's lotus feet for the first time. In chapter 29. Braj Gopis has said, "Yayam bhujakshatav paratalam ramaya datakshanam kvachidaranya jana priyasya asprakshmatad bribati anya samakshamanja statum stoya viramata patapayayama sriyat padam bhujarajastakamai tulasya labdvapi vakshati padam kila britya jushtam yat vikshana swavikshana yasya swavikshana utanya sura prayasas tadvan Vayam cha tava pada raja prapannaha. O Krishna, we remember that day that we touched your lotus feet. If Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, would touch your lotus feet, she would feel an intense festival of joy. So what to speak of us, mere village girls? From that very moment we touched your lotus feet, we are incapable of even standing in the presence of any other man. What does that mean? The implication is that the joy that gopis felt when they just touched the lotus feet of Krishna for the first time was so unlimited and so indescribable. Because they felt he's accepting us as his dasis, as his maidservants. So because of that joy, every other worldly happiness was completely disgusting. They couldn't stand in the presence even of their husbands. So Krishna sent them. Anyway, they went home then. But where is Radharani? What happened was, earlier that morning, as soon as Sri Krishna began to play his flute, Radharani was in her kitchen and she heard it. And she fainted and became completely unconscious. So her Sakis brought her to her bed and they were trying to revive her by massage, by cool water, by various fragrances, by fanning her. But there was nothing. There was nothing that they could do to revive her, and they were very concerned. So then Purnamasi Devi came. And Purnamasi, she told the Sakis of Radharani, bring her to my bhajan kuti. So just outside Nandagaon there's a place. That is where Purnamasi, her very private solitary place of bhajan. It's known now as Purnamasi Gufa. The cave of Purnamasi. But there she has one Parnakutya. It means a little cottage made of leaves. So then the Sakis of Radharani picked her up and carried her unconscious and brought her to the kutir, the cottage of Purnamasi Devi, and kept her there. In the meantime, Purnamasi Devi told her grandson. Who's the grandson of Purnamasi Devi? Madhumangal. Purnamasi Devi is old lady. She wears saffron cloth. She has white hair. She's very beautiful and shining from her austerities. She's Yoga Maya, the Leela Shakti, organizing all the Leela of Vrindavan. So in Braja, Yoga Maya's words, whatever she says, they're accepted as authentic authority, not less than the Vedas themselves. So Purnamasi told Radhika Sakis, bring her to my Parnakuti, my leaf cottage. And she told her grandson, because her son is Sandipani Muni, who later becomes Krishna's guru in Ujjain, and her grandson is Madhumanga. So before Krishna was born, Narad Muni came to Purnamasi Devi in Ujjain and told her, you should go to Braj and take your grandson. So she came with Madhumanga, Krishna's very funny Brahmin friend. So she said, Madhumangal, go and bring Krishna to my Parnakuti. So then Madhumangal set off. So now gopis were waiting. The Purnamasi Devi was there. Brinda Devi, the Bandevata, the goddess of the forest of Vrindavan, Brinda Devi was there also. And Radharani was unconscious, lying on a bed of flowers in the cottage of Purnamasi Devi. So Madhumangal comes there brings Krishna. So when Krishna saw Purnamasi Devi, he folded his hands and bowed down. Oh, Holy Mother, what can I do for you? So then Purnamasi Devi, she indicated with her eyes, look what you've done. Krishna glanced and he saw through the doorway of the cottage. There was the mistress of his heart, beautiful daughter of Vrishabhana Maharaj, very beautiful, lying unconscious on the bed of flowers. And Krishna looked at him, and he looked away. What do you mean? Look what you've done. Krishna was hiding. Madhu Mangal said, oh, there is lightning inside a cloud. And someone may not know, but once that lightning comes out of the cloud, then it's too late for the cloud to hide it. Madhu Mangal said. That means that Radharani is always in the heart of Krishna. He's like a cloud and she's like lightning. And now the lightning has come out in front of him. Now he can no longer hide that lightning was in his heart. So Madhu Mangal was joking like this, but Krishna didn't think it was funny. He was very embarrassed. He said, oh, this so-called Brahmin is always speaking on civilized things. Don't believe him. But Purnamasi, she knows what's going on. She said, Krishna, what are you going to do about this? So then she realized that Krishna was too embarrassed to go into the cottage to meet with Radharani, because Purnamasi is an elder person. So then Purnamasi and Madhu Mangal, they retreated to the distance, and with other gopis, and they went in the distance. And Brinda Devi only took Krishna by the hand and said, come on, and brought Krishna into the cottage and made him sit down next to where Radharani was unconscious. And Krishna, he was so shy, he was so painfully shy, he wasn't looking. He was looking the other way. Know that Krishna is very outrageous in his behavior with the gopis, but he wasn't always like that. He was really shy in the beginning. It took him time to come to that stage in his Leela. He was just 7 years old. And he's afraid and ashamed and looking away. So then Brinda Devi said, oh Krishna, look at her face. When the moon sees her face, the moon becomes embarrassed. I am not beautiful. Even when Lakshmi Devi sees her face, she becomes shy and thinks that she's not beautiful in comparison. So just look upon her face. At least you should look upon her. So then Krishna, he turned and he saw beautiful closed lotus eyes of Radharani. And when he looked, he began to tremble. His hairs were standing on end like needles. And he was trembling and tears were coming in his eyes. Purnamasi, Brinda Devi said, touch her. Krishna, I can't do that. It's against Dharma. I can't do it. It's against Dharma. Brinda Devi said, don't you know? Your touch is the only medicine that can revive her. So then Krishna, he was silent. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know what to do. And all the subject bhavs, ecstatic feelings were coming in his body. So then, Brinda Devi,
Okay. Excuse me.
So then Brinda Devi, taking advantage of Sri Krishna's moment of indecision and anxiety, she quickly fell at Krishna's feet and said, please, please, save her life. But she wasn't falling at his feet to pay obeisances. It was a trick. And she grabbed one of Krishna's feet and put it on Radhika's breast. So then when Krishna's foot touched the body of Radhika, it was so wonderful. He thought, okay, in for a penny, in for a pound. So then he put his other foot there also. And then by the touch of the two lotus feet of Krishna on the heart of Radhika, she was revived. And suddenly her beautiful eyelashes began to flicker, and the two beautiful lotus eyes opened, and she looked at Sri Krishna. And at once, there and then, Sri Krishna immediately got up and ran out from the cottage. He was so embarrassed. His feet were embarrassed that they touched Radharani. He couldn't even walk properly. He was stumbling. Madhumangal came to his aid, and he put his hand on the shoulder of Madhumangal, and Madhumangal was laughing so much and took Krishna away. Then Radharani, she sat up on the bed of flowers and just broke down crying. Just weeping. And Brinda Devi embraced her and gave her consolation. So, the meaning is this. When Krishna was leaving at that time, then the kumkum from the body of Radhika was made on the grass. And the other gopis saw the Aborigine girls come and take that kumkum and feel so much joy. And those gopis, they wanted to express how happy Radharani was for that split second, the first time in her whole life that she was touched by Sri Krishna's lotus feet. But they could not find the words to express the joy that Radharani was feeling. And so, by Vyanjan Briti, by suggestion, by implication, by actually what is called Kaimutik Nyai, the logic of Kim Uta. Kim Uta means how much more. You say? See, if there's a young man and he's very strong, but you cannot express how strong he is. But then you say, oh, when he was 6 years old, he could lift the back of a car. Right? So how strong is he now? So Kim Uta, how much more? So Kim Uta is, you cannot express what you want to say, so you say something less and say, and how much more is the real thing? So the Sakis of Radharani, they wanted to say how much happiness Radharani felt for that split second when Krishna's lotus feet touched her for the first time, when they were only 7 years old. But they couldn't find the words. They could not express. So they said that those Aborigine girls who touched the kumkum on the grass, that touched the feet of Krishna from the breast of Radhika, they became completely fulfilled. So Kim Uta, what can we say about the happiness of Radha and Krishna's first touch? This is the inner meaning of this verse of Venugit. And also, conversely, if we cannot express the extent of Radhika's happiness in that split second when she opened her eyes and saw that Krishna was there, that split second of meeting, if we cannot express that, then we will not be able to also express the separation she felt when he quickly ran away and she sat up on the bed and began to cry. Because though she was feeling separation before, but the separation that takes place after meeting is much more intense. This is also the dhwani, the echo of the inner meaning of this verse. Some questions remain unanswered. What is that? Why did Krishna run away? And the answer is this: that when Brinda Devi brought him into the cottage and said, look upon her, and then Krishna, he looked at Radharani's beauty, he became overwhelmed with sattvic bhavs. He became stunned. He experienced the jadata, the inertia of the mind, when the mind just won't function anymore. And due to that bewilderment, he thought that this wasn't Radharani, that it was a golden doll. It was a vigraha. It was a murti. And because he was trying to hide his love for Radharani, he thought that the gopis have found out about my love, Purnamasi found out about my love, and they're bringing me to show me this golden murti to test how I'll react. So, even then he was hesitant to touch even the golden murti of Radharani. But when Brindadevi took his foot and put it on her heart, then Krishna thought, alright, and then he put his other foot there. But then when she opened her eyes, Krishna had the shock of his life. It wasn't a murti. It was actually the daughter of Vrishabharma. Oh, hey Bhagavan, Hari, Hari. That's it. You know how people say, oh my God, that's what Krishna says, Hari, Hari. He's referring to Lord Narayan, not himself. So then Krishna became, when he thought he was just touching a murti of Radhika. And when her eyes opened, then this very shy and cultured 7-year-old boy, he felt very much ashamed. And asked, what have I done? And quickly he ran for his life. So this is called Purvarag, the love of Radha and Krishna prior to their mature and successful, prosperous romantic meeting. And so those are the sentiments which are expressed in this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Those who will hear it with faith and relish it deeply, then a desire may come in their hearts. When will I have the chance to serve the lotus feet of that daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, sweet and beautiful cowherd girl Srimati Radharani, and thereby give the utmost pleasure also to Krishna. If you want to please Krishna yourself directly, it's very limited how much you can please him. But if you can serve his most beloved Srimati Radhika, then Krishna automatically gives himself to that person. Radhikara dasi jali hoya abhiman shigar milai tavago kulakan. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, if someone is situated in the abhiman, the self-conception, the identity, I am just the insignificant maidservant of Radharani, then very easily they can attain also the service of Krishna, in the heart of Krishna. So this is the Dwani, the teaching of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's not apparent to everyone. Many people read Srimad Bhagavatam and in the end they cannot understand the head or tail of it. But by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami, we see that each verse is calling out, oh, leave all things and try to serve Sri Krishna and Radhika, falling in the mood of the Manjaris, Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari. Bole Vrindavan Bihai Lal ki jai, Bole Saniwali ki jai, Jai Jai Sri Radhe. So, we have discussed one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, but there are 17,999 more verses. So if you want to follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, try to take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then you can really be a Gaudiya Vaishnava. It's a very important element of our life. And then your quality of chanting will increase. By hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Nasta Praeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Mastake Bhakti Bhagavati Maistiti means here Nasta Praeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. By serving the book Bhagavat, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the devotee Bhagavat, the devotee who is a living, breathing embodiment of all the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam, both must be served together. And by that, you anarthas. And here, they become destroyed. But here, anartha especially means nama aparat. If we can become free from the offenses to the holy name will clear out all anarthas. So by serving Srimad Bhagavatam, and the devotee who is the embodiment of Srimad Bhagavatam, by this we become free from offenses to the holy name. And when we chant, then even Nam Abhas cleanses the heart, and Bhakti Bhagavati Naistiki, one becomes established very, very firmly in pure bhakti. So don't neglect every day to read Srimad Bhagavatam. Gaur Premanand. I think we'll be serving prasadam now?
Yes.
So, devotees have any questions, we can discuss.
Questions.
I have a small question.
Yeah?
I remember hearing an instruction from Srila Prabhupada that when reading Srimad Bhagavatam, one shouldn't just jump to the 10th canto.
Yes.
Can you speak on this?
Yes. Start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Start from the beginning and go through 9 cantos. And when you finish the 10th canto, you must read 11th and 12th cantos also.
This is what I've been doing. I'm on the
Because all the great speakers of transcendental knowledge, they follow the same formula. You can see in Bhagavad Gita, the first 6 chapters predominantly focus on karma yoga. And the middle 6 chapters are bhakti. And then the last 6 chapters more discuss the tattva jnana, knowledge. Why? Because after hearing about bhakti, then to make it very firm, your bhakti very strong, or dridata, to make your steadiness in bhakti, then you'll have to hear all the tattva siddhanta. So Gita is presented like that. So in the same way, Srimad Bhagavatam, first in 9 cantos, cuts all our attachments to this material world, and then the nectar of Krishna's Leela is given. But then after that you come back, especially 11th canto, Krishna himself is mainly instructing Uddhav. There are many beautiful conversations. The Navayagendra Samvad, 9 masters of mystic yoga are speaking to Nidhi Maharaj. But this is within the context of Krishna's teachings to Uddhav. And that whatever inspiration you have from the 10th canto will make it very firm. And one can avoid the things which are detrimental to further realization. Because bhakti, yatsat satsarva sarvada, anvayat vyatirekabhyam yatsat satsarva sarvada. The bhakti should be cultivated positively and negatively. So positively means you have to hear, chant and remember about Krishna. And negatively means you have to make a very determined effort to let go of any sanskaras and thoughts which are lingering from this life and past lives which are unfavorable for bhakti. And so hearing the tattva jnana cuts this away, helps us identify those things. So bhakti should be pursued both positively, by positive and negative means also.
I have another question. The pastime that you just shared about Purnamasi Devi, is this written by somewhere in the commentaries of Sri Jiva Goswami?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Which one?
The pastime, the details of the pastime with Purnamasi is in Gopal Champu.
Oh.
And then, but what have you see, all the writings of Jiva Goswami, they're completely consistent. So then you'll find other things that I told in the class that all tie up with that Leela directly in his Bhagavatam commentary, which is called Laghu Vaishnav Toshani. And also it will be corroborated in the Sandarbhas also, in Krishna Sandarbha and Priti Sandarbha. So it's amazing. The Mahabharata is the world's biggest epic. The Iliad and the Odyssey can both fit into the Mahabharata 7 times. It's so huge. It's 100,000 shloks, the Mahabharata. But Jiva Goswami wrote 400,000 verses. So it's so prolific. And the amazing thing is, wherever you go in his writing, it all seamlessly fits together with complete consistency with everything he wrote everywhere else as well, as if it were all composed at the same time, and then he just wrote it down. So Jiva Goswami is superhuman, not human. He is the incarnation of Vilas Manjari. Among the 8 main manjaris, like Radharani has 8 main sakis, she has 8 main manjaris, and one of them is Vilas Manjari. That Manjari came in this world as Srila Jiva Goswami and manifested this incredible treasure of commentaries. He was commenting again and again and again on Srimad Bhagavatam. He can't stop commenting on Srimad Bhagavatam. 6 Sandhavas are 6 commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam. Sarva Samvadi is another commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. Laghu Vaishnav Toshin is another commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. Gopal Champu is another commentary. And Kram Sandhava is another commentary. He just couldn't stop writing on Srimad Bhagavatam again and again. So what taste he has. And he's revealed so many mysteries. And even if you come to the end of all of his writings, then you still haven't come to the end of the understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because Srila Vishnu Thakur has commented in completely different ways. Completely different ways. Srila Vishnu Thakur has proven that Krishna and the gopis did meet before the Rasa Leela. And so then all this interpretation, which is I told today, is you can't follow that, you have to follow. So it's not, but you don't make a conflict, but it's that Krishna's Leela is going on in a prakos, that means a chamber or a dimension. And so Krishna's same Leela is going on in many parallel dimensions at once. And when our acharyas chant, in their meditation they enter into one dimension, they sit and they explain it that way. And then another acharya, he may also see that, but one day he's chanting, he enters into another dimension, and the Leela plays out in a different way, and then he comments. So don't think that when our acharyas give comments which seem to be contradictory, that they're contradicting or disagreeing with each other. They're just different realizations of Krishna doing his Leela in many different ways, many variations. Otherwise, if Krishna had to come once in a day of Lord Brahma, for every day of Lord Brahma in every universe, and do the same thing every time, it would be like a 9 to 5. Okay? It doesn't do that. It's, every time it's wonderful and new and different.
If one acharya is speaking commentary on one way...
Actually, if you did the same pastime every time, it's so ecstatic it would still be fresh. But Krishna is not like that. Krishna also does everything different as well. Yeah, so...
I guess one more. When one acharya is giving commentary in another mood, is this because of their swarup being identified with different...
You know, all of our Gaudiya acharyas, in our parampara, they're all in Ragadasya. They're all Manjaris. So they're all in the same mood with slight variations. So if they've commented and given different explanations, it's because on that day that was the Leela that they realized on that day. It may be the next day they'll realize in a different way, but they didn't write that down. So every day when our acharyas are chanting, they're realizing the Leelas. And of the many, many things that they realize, just what they feel is beneficial, will be beneficial, or could be understood somewhat by us. They've given a drop, just a few drops. So you are looking at their writing and thinking it's an ocean. That's not an ocean, that's a drop.
This reminds me of something I read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I think Lord Chaitanya said the love of God is so powerful that if one gets a drop of it, the whole world can drown in that drop.
Para sunya gabe bhakti rasa sindhu Tomachagite kohi toi eko bindu. Mahaprabhu said to Rupa Goswami, the ocean of rasa has no shore. It goes on in every direction, endlessly, and it has no bottom. You can't get to the bottom of it either. So, just to make you understand what is this ocean of bhakti rasa, I will describe a single drop, one drop. And then that one drop that Mahaprabhu gave to Rupa Goswami became Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Ujjwal Nilamani, Lalit Madhav, Vidagdha Madhav, Damkali Comedy, Stavamala, and all the books of Rupa Goswami, that little drop. And what Rupa Goswami realized, he blessed it in the heart of Jiva Goswami. So Jiva Goswami wrote down other things, but that realization is also coming from Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is his Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru both. Is everyone fasting for Purushottam Mass? Or Ramadan?
We can't leave you.
Oh, okay.
I can't.
Correct answer.
Yeah.
Oh, Mani Manjari.
Pretty good, how are you?
She's still broadcasting? Hello to all the people at home.
Oh yeah.
Everyone in Lithuania, I'll be there in a few days.
So we could go on and watch this again on one of those two sites. And how are they labeled? Just by date?
Oh, I don't know what they're doing these days. In other countries, there's 4 or 5 people. In other places, 4 or 5 people are streaming and giving the verse and the date and everything. But here only Mani Manjari is doing that, and she's very new and inexperienced, so I don't know how she's labeling. But when the managers of my web, it's going up. This is going on Facebook, I think, on different channels on Facebook, like Mani Manjari's channel, and there's a group called Chaitanya Academy Devotees Worldwide or something like that. A group on Facebook, and it's going there. And it's going on Auckland, New Zealand Gaudiya Mat page, and a few other pages. They're all sharing it.
Not been on social media.
Then what happens is my webmasters will take it from there, and then they'll edit it nicely, and they'll put an animated introduction and title and everything. So if you want it just now, you have to find out from Mani Manjari. But if you wait, it might take a day or two for the website managers to edit everything and put it
She's
on the site.
giving her Facebook. I just haven't been on Facebook for 2 years.
May I ask,
Yeah.
for Guru Shortama, this is so fast for me. I know mustard seed was one.
Mustard seed.
I thought that asafoetida was...
Yeah, some persons who are very strict, they fast from him. But I think it's not in the list. But I think
How far is it from you now?
if you're doing puja to the deities, you shouldn't take him anyway. Those who are doing deity service, they shouldn't take him.
I don't like it.
Those who are pujaris. But others take it.
Are we supposed to, if we're not doing service to the deities? Are we supposed to take him if we're not doing service?
You don't have to, but you can.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
It's like an onion garlic substitute, you know. So
If he's